Welcome back to Global News Morning. It's that time of week we love to check in with Matt Lee, and primarily during the month of November, he is participating in Movember. We're checking in on his facial hair. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yes, it's starting to grow.
It's looking good, yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks
Yeah,
for participating in Movember. It is a great charity. But we're talking about wells, primarily in rural areas. It is something that
yeah.
you have to be aware of. Talk us through it.
So what we're seeing a little bit, I always say that anybody buying a country property, it costs you a little bit more in inspections because sometimes you do a home inspection, but in the country you want to do a well and a septic inspection.
Mm.
You want to find out what that inspection for the well is a gallons per minute, and also to see what is in the water. We all know what's in the water for municipal services because they're regulating it all the time, but you don't know what's in the water in the country. So you want to know if you have E. coli, coliform, salt, sulfur, iron, hard water. Hard water is going to build up as well. Some of these things are more expensive to deal with. Some of them aren't. But the big thing is really what the gallons per minute is so that you can run the household properly.
So we're talking about, specifically for this segment, properties that already exist with a well and not building a new well with the new property.
That's correct.
Okay.
So right now what we're talking about is actually really if we had a well that was drilled, and we're going to use an example, 1960, 1970, and they've run normally a normal household use for water, and all of a sudden we go to sell that house and we have the well test done. The well professional comes back and says, look, you got 2.5 gallons, 3 gallons a minute, which can be an issue because we're going to be running a household and we need to know how many people. That's the potential of running out of water, depending on what the amount of water is in the well. So what we do is we start to investigate it a little bit. And if we go back on that property, there is actually a website called Ontario Wells. And this is, this is what it looks like with the blue dots. And basically it records every well that has been recorded since, I think it's 1970.
Wow.
Maybe before. Yeah. So you can pull up that lot and concession. You can zoom in on the map and you pull the old document. And if for some reason that well said that it was 6 or 7 gallons a minute, or it was 10 gallons a minute, and now it's only producing 2.5 to 3, you'll start to narrow in on maybe some investigation, right? There's a couple different things that can happen. I have seen this happen, and we have had, I think, 5 or 6 different places around the Kingston area where we've had a local well drilling company come in, stick a diamond bit down in the existing well and punch it deeper. And when I say deeper, I mean one time it was 5 feet and another time it was 20 feet.
To get a better gallons per minute.
It opens the cavity. Maybe the well or the water table dropped a bit in that area because, you've got more houses, you've got these more things that are happening. All of a sudden they drop that and bang, you hit water. And you're hitting basically what it was hopefully before. I'm not saying that happens every time. We've been lucky, but there is, when you start to go back and you say, okay, well, there was water here. There was lots of water here. It doesn't just all of a sudden go away normally, unless somebody has blown out, they're filling a quarry. A quarry, that could be something totally different. You could lose water, something that sense. If it's just kind of the normal area, you might only need to go down a certain amount. You might only need to fracture the well where they do high pressure air that opens up the veins that are existing. So there are potentials, there are possibilities before you go to drilling that new well, because that's the most expensive, and there's always a risk to that because you got to make sure you hit water again. And these are the things that we run into here. Sometimes we run into areas that have lower water. Sometimes you get a lower gallons per minute, and maybe you have a trickle system into a cistern, that's buried in the ground. There's ways to work things, but if the water exists or did exist and it's lower, it's worth investigating.
And there are resources right here in Kingston with well diggers.
Yeah, absolutely. Knox has been around forever. I've used them, and they are really good. So I would look at that company to say, we're not getting the gallons per minute. Let's see what your ideas are. So I personally think that they would be one to talk to. We use professional pumps for doing the testing. There's Byron as well. There's lots of really good companies out there that are doing to make sure the water is taken care of, that it's being treated properly, and that it's being tested. So you want to make sure that is you have your eyes wide open going into a country property of what you're dealing with, because if there's salt in the water, those systems are $25,000 to treat. Can be up to $25,000 to treat salt. Pull it out because it will rot pipes. You want to make sure you have enough water, and you take care of those things.
All very important considerations. As always, thank you so much, Matt Lee. When you said we were going to talk about wells, I got all scared. I started thinking of that movie, The Ring. I didn't like that movie. I was scared.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they're going to put you down a well, is that what you're saying?
It's not a good idea. Okay. Thank you so much, Matt Lee.
Take it.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.